guys, Jay here. Welcome to Eons of Battle. Today, I want to talk a little bit about storytelling in 40K, or really storytelling with miniatures, because recently I've completed a project that has really scratched an itch, or scratched a spot that I haven't scratched in a long time about like making miniatures that tell a story, or I had a story in mind when I created these models. This is a Kill Team. I love the game Kill Team, and this might be, I was on 15 and then I painted the Tau. That would have been 16. Is this my 17th completed Kill Team? It might be. I think it's my 17th completed Kill Team, but these are the Tempestus Scions. Out of the Compendium book, Normal Guardsmen, you can take either Cadian Guardsmen or you can take Tempestus Scions. Tempestus Scions are better in every way, but you don't get to take as many. You can take 14 regular Guardsmen or you can take 10 Tempestus Scions. And the Tempestus Scions, they don't really look like army soldiers. They look a lot more like a medieval knights. I really like their armor. The Games Workshop has been teasing new Khazarkin, and Khazarkin look like soldiers, whereas these guys look more like security, or I guess like some sort of a medieval police, a medieval sci-fi police. But that got me thinking that they would be perfect for an Inquisition force. And so I thought that these guys would make great Inquisitor helpers, and that is exactly what I've made. Also, I was super inspired. I was not in a painting slump, but I had painted like 10 projects exactly the same way, and then I was watching some videos from Marco Frassoni. Hello guys, and welcome back to Not Just Mecha. I love his painting so much. It's amazing what he can do. And the video that I watched, he was using the airbrush, and he was using the airbrush for everything, for base coating, for highlighting, for blending, for glazing. And he was holding that airbrush millimeters from the model. And I thought, well, I should try that. And so I tried that on this team, and it was super effective. I really had a good time. I should keep going with that. I think after that, I painted another Kill Team in a similar style, but not the exact same way. But I really, really enjoyed it. And they turned out so good, and they turned out grim and dark. And that grim darkness works perfectly for my idea that these are helpers of the Inquisition, because the Inquisition, although their goals are very high and mighty, they're the peacekeepers of like freedom in the galaxy, sort of. It's very awful where, like, you know, they'll silence people who have different opinions to how the Imperium currently operates, which is horribly. But it makes sense that an Inquisitor would have kind of spooky, scary retinue soldier guys. And so I decided for my Tempester, the sergeant of the Scions, I would actually use a Inquisitor model. And so I used the model of Kyria Draxus. And I painted this model up on stream. Actually, I painted all of these guys up on stream. By the way, I live stream every weekday from 9 to 10 p.m. Central. Come hang out. I named this character, what did I name it? May Tandor. This is Inquisitor May Tandor, built off of Kyria Draxus. I head swapped, so it's different, completely different now, head swap. I used a Stormcast Eternal head as the swap for this model. And I really, really like how she turned out. And I like how she is very clean and her armor is shiny and polished, but her retinue is just super beat up and grim and just dark and miserable. And so Kyria Draxus gave me a perfect idea, because she's a little bit of a not a rogue Inquisitor, but definitely a slightly heretical Inquisitor. She's carrying an Eldar Shuriken catapult, and she has the Psychic Dragon on her arm. And so I thought she's a bit of a radical Inquisitor, so maybe she has created herself some minions to do her bidding that are also heretical. So in 40K, there's a thing called a Servitor, and a Servitor is a person who has been turned into a sort of a machine computer that can do a task. And usually those are very simple tasks: opening and closing doors, dragging around a gun and shooting it in a certain direction with a horrible ballistic skill. Servitors suck, but I'm saying that these are Servitors, and May has actually used some Xenos technology to make Servitors that are really good, that are proper soldiers. You know, a little a little DNA cloning shenanigans. She has the perfect servitors, but she can't let anybody ever find out what she's done, so she has made all of her servitors unable to speak. Oh, and on these guys, these are not the normal Tempestus Scions. I've head swapped them with the Skitarii Vanguard models. I really like that bell-shaped helmet they have, and it goes along really well with the Tempestus armor. And so their faces are hidden, they just have one glowing green eye. And so they are unable to speak, and they're unable to give up May and tell anybody about her heretical ways. That did cause some problems though when it came to this model. This is the Vox guy, and the original model, he was actually speaking into a telephone, but obviously my guy couldn't be speaking into a telephone if he can't speak. So I turned his telephone into a little computer screen, and I gave him a lot more antennas so he can perhaps psychically communicate with all of his brethren. Because I think that, old Aunt May over here, she actually used some Eldar, either some Eldar DNA or some Eldar machinations to create her super soldier servitors. And so yeah, also, I just love this model, but I took the chainsword hand and then I glued this computer bit on top of it. And so he's actually kind of got like a knife computer. Like it looks like he's holding a knife, and then on top of the knife is a computer. I just think it's fun. But yeah, I absolutely love this force. It's just made so much creativity happen for me, and I'm super excited to play it in the game because the Tempestus Scions are badass. They've got some great rules. They don't get as many models as the normal Imperial Guard, and they don't have all the shenanigans that the veteran guardsmen have, the ones that came in the Octeris box, but they can do some really cool stuff. That guy I was just showing off, the Vox guy, he can hand out action points to anybody on the board. He can do that twice a turn if he uses both of his actions. And so like if I need to grab an objective, I can do a full move, I can do a dash, and then I can hand that model another action point so that he can claim the objective. That is a super, super great rule to have in a clutch. And Kyria, so I wanted to equip my sergeant, my Tempester sergeant, with a power fist. Although I think I might just say she has a power weapon because she's physically has a power fist, but the power fist is so bad. If you equip a sergeant with a power weapon, they hit on 2s in close combat. If you equip a power fist, they hit on 4s. So you go from an almost certainty to like a 50-50, like worse. It's super bad. So maybe I'll just call that a power weapon that looks fisty as opposed to a proper power fist. But I am super, super jazzed with this kill team. This isn't the first time that I've done some creativeness with my armies, but this is probably, I mean, certainly it's the most recent, and it's maybe one of the more fleshed out. But when I was putting together my Black Templars are not, they're pretty close, they're pretty lore accurate, but I've done a few little shenanigans here and there. Mostly because my idea for them is that they are on a crusade against this group of orcs who are blue, which are actually Nyx orcs. He paints all of his orcs blue, and so my Templar have been warring for hundreds of years against Nyx orcs. And so I have a little shield, and this little shield that I painted on a bunch of their legs. It's just a super simple little thing, but that makes them my crusade. And I remember way back in high school when I was putting together my very, very first Necron army, when I finally decided to paint them white, because originally I painted them like the box art and it was a disaster. And so I repainted them all white with blue accents. And my idea was that they were growing up on, not growing up, they're Necrons, they're eternal, but they were living on an ice planet. And so their white armor skin and their glowing light blue weapons were actually camouflaging them against the white landscape that they lived on. That ended up being a little bit of a mistake because I had white Necrons with light blue guns on snowy bases, and so it's like a polar bear in a blizzard. You couldn't really see anything when I had everything all set up. It just kind of looked like a mess. So I've actually gone back and I've changed them from white with blue accents to white with orange accents, and that orange really hits a lot harder. I don't have a good lore idea of why they're orange, but it's fun things to think about. And that's how this team kind of came about, is I had ideas and I had things I wanted to do, and I had inspiration from Marco Frassoni of techniques I wanted to try, and it all kind of acted as a stepladder to create something really cool. You don't have to have everything thought up ahead of time. You don't really ever have to have anything thought up, but I think it's a really cool idea to insert some lore and some character and some fiction into your miniatures. War games are perfect for that. There are some games like an Infinity or Malifaux where like you kind of are playing, or I guess Marvel Crisis Protocol is the big one, where you are playing real fake folks, and they should probably be painted the way that they are. Less so Malifaux and Infinity, more so Marvel Crisis Protocol. I mean, that's the Hulk. He's just the Hulk, and he has, decades of lore surrounding him. But I think it's really fun, especially for like Games Workshop games or Mantic games, to just really make the models your own. And I don't think there's a system in place. I think you just have to have an inkling. You just have to have an inkling of something in your head, and then you have to chase it and kind of just follow it wherever it leads you. Whether it leads you to some Marco Frassoni tutorials, or it leads you to a Inquisitor model that's about the right size to be a Tempestus Scion, or into your bits bin for some Skitarii heads. It all just leads to some really cool stuff. And I totally feel a lot more invested in this kill team than in my 6 Tau stealth suits. I like my 6 Tau stealth suits. They painted up really nice, but they're just guys. They're just fellas. Whereas these guys, these are Xeno-enhanced servitors who are shackled to an Inquisitor and unable to disobey orders and unable to tell anybody about the evils of May. I don't know if I'm completely sold on the name May Tandor. If anybody has some better ideas, please post them in the comments below. I really like going online and looking up like 40K name generators, because you get some really fun stuff. But half the time you just end up with like real names from the books, because that's where they pull all the names from. And so it's like, oh, that's a cool name. Oh, it's this character from the Eisenhorn trilogy. Quadrilogy. How many Eisenhorn books are there? I'm including Ravenor and the Beckwin books in. It's all part of the Eisenhorn series, which is fine. I like Eisenhorn enough. I've read the 3 books and they're fine. The first one's pretty good. The second and third one. Anyway, I really am getting a kick out of this kill team, and I'm excited to try out more of, I don't know, I guess just being creative with my kill teams, because this is I have a lot of kill teams on my belt, but I've still got plenty to go. Games Workshop just showed off some Breachers coming in that new big kill team box on a Space Hulk. And man, I don't know, maybe I'll take those Breachers and I'll incorporate them into this, like Kyria has some Tempestus Scions and some Imperial Breachers, like some deck troopers from a spaceship. That would actually make a lot of sense. It would look so good to have more Tempestus Scions and then the Breachers and then maybe a couple of Vendettas decked out in inquisitorial symbols. But that's the sort of stuff that happens. Those ideas happen when you put that thought into your models, because I'm not using a lot of brain power on those Tau guys. Painted them red, put them on the shelf. But these guys have really got me thinking about different things I can do and different avenues I can go down in collecting and painting. So yeah, if anybody if you have gone down this same rabbit hole that I have, and you have a force that you've created and you've got some cool lore and some ideas and some kit bashes, please just write me a whole story and post it in the comments below, because I would love to read it. That'll probably give me more ideas for kill teams. But speaking of things that always give me ideas, that's right, our Patreon. Over there, we have a Miniature of the Month Club with STLs and physical resin prints. We also have one extra episode of EOB a week. We have a live hobby hangout where we all hop into a Discord server and chit chat, and we also have merch. Link in the description. I hope you guys enjoyed. I really did. I love these guys. And also, they took me a while to finish. I painted 8 of them, and then I sat on them forever because I wasn't sure I was gonna make this video, but I wasn't sure how I was gonna make this video. And so I ended up just being like, I'm just gonna go ahead and paint them. And it was great because it turned into Kyria and the remaining Tempester. So Thanks for watching.